Hey team, it's Daniel again with Brazos Valley Boars and Varmits. So this video is part 3 of our time with Todd Huey of Lone Star Boars and Huey Outdoors. This video is actually going to be a sit-down podcast style interview where we sit down in the studio and just talk about anything and everything about hog hunting or just whatever else we want to talk about in a way that not only I was looking forward to doing, but I also hope y'all enjoy. So guys, here we go.
Been looking for, something like, well, you have the sound digging, so
yeah.
I have my man cave. Now, I bet this is probably a 6th or an 8th of what my wall is, going down.
Yep.
But, that's where my wife, I have to put all my stuff. It's either there,
right.
The only air conditioned place I have, so everything goes in there, and I just run out of room.
Sure.
But I get into the thing where I want to get a little section. I've tried different areas. I don't like how I have it set up right now because I'd like a table like this where I could talk, sit down and talk, and maybe have something. And right now, what I have is basically a workbench.
Right.
That's across. And at the time, it was a great idea, and I'd sit there and I'd put a rifle up or whatever, and I stand behind there.
Yep.
But I don't know, something about being able to sit down and being there kind of makes it more, I don't know, the more relaxed. The video.
Sitting down, or the
sitting
versus
down
standing behind it.
Versus standing behind it. I don't know. Maybe it's just a mental thing for me.
Sure.
But that's what I'm seeing. What shotgun is that? Is that the Turkish?
Benelli
or that's a Benelli? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know they had those Turkish clones now.
Right.
Some of that stuff. I don't.
No, I bought that.
Since it has the Chinese holosun on it, I thought it might be a Turkish clone.
I bought we were at our house in China Spring, and we just ripped out the laundry room floor, and I went into a local gun shop, and I saw that shotgun, and I love shotguns.
I don't have one, a Benelli M4. I want one. I just hadn't done it.
I love shotguns, man. And then I saw that sitting there, and I just had to have it, and so I bought it. And when my wife found out about it, she started calling that shotgun the laundry room floor, because it was the same amount as what it was going to cost to fix our floor. But I done tore it up.
But that's way worth more. It'll
never we don't live at that house anymore. Yeah. I still got this shotgun,
and it's worth way more, especially these days. But I got a bunch of shotguns too. I did bird hunting for the longest time.
Right.
But even at close range, I mean, it's just not a rifle.
Right. Yeah.
I want it to work so bad. I have all these cool shotguns,
and
it works, but it's not a rifle.
Right. Well, and I actually killed my very first wild hog with that shotgun. And we were at our family land in Bastrop, and we saw one that was, as you get down to this bottom before it goes down to the creek. And I did that thing where you get behind the tree and Indian 50 yards up to it, then go sideways, and then Indian another little bit. And then finally I poked out, and I was about 50 yards away with it, and one shot just dropped it. And so that was actually...
What, slug or buckshot?
Buckshot, yeah. Buckshot. Double out buckshot. Just 2 3/4 inch, cheap, whatever was on the shelf at Academy.
As you see on the videos, the proof's in the pudding from the buggy, because I'm shooting close range.
Yeah.
If you saw those slugs, did you see that slug video?
Yeah.
Now I will admit, we're moving, and people can't tell because I slow it down in slow motion. I try to show it full speed too, but it's a lot of bumping going on.
Yep.
But when you see a quarter size hole, and you're angling up and you're hitting back here in the shoulder, they're still running 50 yards.
Yeah.
Unless you hit a central nervous, I'm sure they call it,
switches and timers.
Yeah. And it's just a timer. But I do like, the one thing I like about the slug is you almost get instant feedback of where you hit it.
Yeah.
It's like hitting it with a paintball round.
Right.
But again, they're just, slugs, even those were I was using the cheapest Turkish slugs, and I can get like 5 7.62 by 39 rounds for each slug.
Right.
But I love them. It's just I wish I could find them to make it work better. So.
Well, and then especially on the way what you're doing on the buggy, with how much the volume of pigs that you'll be trying to round up. How many rounds does that one hold?
That's 60.
That holds 60 rounds of shot. Okay.
60 rounds of 7.62 by 39.
Oh wait, hang on. Yeah, that's right. That's one we were using
past couple
So
days.
the Gen
But
12,
your
the Gen 12, they have 5-round mags, and then it comes with 10-round mags, and then there's 2-round extensions for that. So you get 12 in the mag.
Yep.
And then if you load it up right, you know, you can get 13. And then they're coming out with, which should be getting here sometime in the next week or two, 15-round drums.
Okay.
I'd rather it be 25-round drums.
Yep.
But the shotgun mags are long.
Yeah.
I mean, really long.
Yep.
And they were trying, the drum is actually, I think, from what I remember now, almost an inch shorter than the 10-round mag.
Okay.
But
it's going to be just so bulky.
But if you went to a 25-round or even a 20-round, you started getting bulkier than, and they're building it for LE and I mean, they're building for civilian too. But,
sure.
But they're trying to keep that fine, you know. But the great thing about that, what I like about that Gen 1, it works.
Yep.
Every mag-fed shotgun that I've had failed, and I know people say the Saigas, they haven't had trouble. I've had nothing but trouble with the Saigas that I've had, and then the Vepr. Now that one that I sent to Dissonant Arms, and they converted to a Vepr, it won't run birdshot for me.
Okay.
But it runs buckshot and slug fine, and with a suppressor on it, I mean it's really smooth. But and it partly me. I don't practice with AK mags, but you know it's got the well, actually, I guess now that it's a Vepr, it just drops straight out. But still, all the controls, it's just the Gen 12 is an AR platform, AR-10 platform.
Right.
And it locks back on empty. It shoots the lightest birdshot to the heaviest slugs. It just works with everything.
Right.
And then, you know, being mag fed, you can have the 7.5-inch barrel.
Yeah.
And then by the time I put the suppressor on it, they made me that one. It's really a 13 and a half inch barrel, but by the time because the whole barrel reciprocates on that thing, so by the time the muzzle device on the end that makes it so you can, you know, originally it was a breaching shotgun, so you could touch the wall, or if you come, you know, bad guy comes around the corner and you put it right in their chest. With a move-in barrel, if you didn't have that on the end, you would have malfunction.
Right.
So you can contact and fire, but it also allows you to put muzzle devices on it, like suppressors and different things. So they made that one, so with the end on it, it's really like a 14.5-inch barrel. And all the research I did, you know, you could go to a 50-inch barrel, and they were cutting it down an inch at a time. You lost a little bit of velocity between 50 and 14.5, but it wasn't much.
Sure.
But the second you go below 14, you really start losing velocity. But, you know, so I had to make that one, because at the time there wasn't any really suppressors for it, but now they have the suppressors for it. So actually the 10.5 works, because by the time, you know, shotgun, it's just a smooth bore.
Yep.
By the time you put that shotgun suppressor on that 10.5, it turns into like a 15-inch barrel.
Yep.
And it works pretty damn good. That 14-inch is great on the bike. In the buggy with the suppressor, I find myself coming back around the A pillar. It's just a little bit too long, but it works. But I think the 10.5 is the sweet spot for that particular, because you know, with a suppressor, then you're a little bit over that 14.5-inch barrel length, and you're going to get that power that you want. But anyways,
I got you. So let's let me officially start. No, really anything that we want to.
Yeah.
So guys, for introduction, I obviously, if you're in the hog hunting nighttime thermal world, you know exactly who this guy is. And so, Todd, I really just want to start off by saying I have been tickled pink just by the fact that you have responded, and that you know, you're in my home, and I've been able to host you over the past couple of days.
Appreciate
it has been my pleasure, because you know, like we've been talking about over the past couple of days, I started getting serious about nighttime hunting in 2014, so 10 years ago, and you were one of the channels that I immediately gravitated towards and was watching all of your content. And so then fast forward 10 years, and like you're sitting right here with me, like, man, like Homer was telling me that I should call the video of this "Do Meet Your Heroes" because it's been so much fun. It's just been a great weekend. So thank you for your time. Thank you for stepping away from your family, your wife and kids, and just making the drive down here and being here with us. It has been my pleasure. So I'm just not gonna be able to say thank you enough. This has been great.
I appreciate you for inviting me.
Yeah, man, it was wonderful. Obviously, whenever I first got interested in it, you had already had so many videos up. You'd been doing this for a pretty good while.
Well, I've been doing it for a while before we even put videos up.
Right.
You know, I don't even think YouTube had existed
Okay.
when I started. You know, it was all forums, and that's kind of where everything started, was forums.
Gotcha. Without going into like the origin story is always the same for people, but has there been anything that like flipped a switch in your brain or just inspired you to go, you know what, this whole social media thing, putting this info out there, I really want to go forward for that? Is there any kind of...
I told you that story.
Yeah, you did.
The wife, you know.
Yep.
When my wife got pregnant, she's like, it's time to be responsible. I've never bitched about you hunting. You're gone all the time. But in fact, and my wife knows this, I've told this story before, but when I was dating her, every other weekend, even if I didn't have somewhere to go hunt, I told her I was hunting because I was training her. Because I'm an older dude. I know how this works. You know, everything at first is all happy, lovey, dovey.
Yep.
Well, I know, you know, that all fades away. No matter, I love my wife. Everything's great.
Yep.
But you know, at first you want to be together all the time. I'm like, I'm gonna break her from this at the very beginning. So every other weekend I would tell her I'm either hunting or I'm fishing, and then every other weekend I would spend with her.
Yep.
And that way she got kind of used to me being gone or doing something, and that's all she's ever known. So then when we, you know, and you know, years later we get married, and you know, everything, and it's just normal to her. But then, and she's been great about it. She doesn't. I mean, it's fine. In fact, she bought me my first PBS 14, my first night vision. I wouldn't buy it. I thought it was too expensive, you know. And she got it for me. But then when she got pregnant, she came in. Of course, her hormones are going crazy.
Yeah.
You know how it goes.
Yep.
And she goes into mama bear mode, where you need to provide for this baby. You've been playing the whole time I know you. It's time to be responsible.
Yep.
And you either, and really, and she's told me this too, you know, she thought I should turn it into a business because she saw
right off the bat.
And companies were contacting me.
Sure.
Way back when companies were, and I didn't want any sponsors. This is my hobby. This was my good time. I was just doing it because I like to kill pigs.
Yeah.
And she would try to get me to do this. I'm like, I'm not doing that. So, you know, I have no interest in that. I just want to kill pigs. And so this was her way. She knew that I wanted to do it so bad that doing that would force me. So I kind of just started the YouTube channel as a scam for her, to make her think that I was trying to actually do something, but I had no intention of it going anywhere.
Yep.
It was just going to be like, look, but then, you know, she knows when the people call and stuff like that and contact. So I started having to take some people. Anyways, it went where it went.
Right, for sure. At what point did you really feel like you were making a difference, or you were having any kind of impact in just the thermal hunting community?
In the community, or for killing pigs?
Either way, it's your answers.
I mean, killing pigs, the first few years, I mean, we did good, but, you know, we thought that we wouldn't run out of pigs.
Right.
I think the first time that I really noticed is actually when I went down, I had about a 3,000 acre ranch that I was doing, and I hit it really hard for about 6 months, and then didn't see a pig. There were feeders all over it, running cameras all over it, and there wasn't a pig on a camera for almost 2 years after that first 6 months. And that was, you know, after I'd got it. I'd never wiped out a complete group until I got thermal. With night vision, we'd hit some, but, you know, not wiping out. Well, then we started wiping out, or I started wiping out complete groups with thermal. And I don't think I killed them all on that property, but I pushed them off. That was that was my first experience, like, uh-oh, what happened here? There's no more pigs. Because before, you know, I was always told it was an endless supply. And then, you know, of course, pigs have gotten smarter, but we've refined it now. You know, the guy I hunt with up north, and we do the buggy thing. I mean, we have probably 98% kill rate, and we hunt his property and the properties around it, and none of those properties up there have had no pig damage for like 2 years now.
That's great.
And we'll see a new group, because obviously I'm still making videos.
Yep.
But we're covering a really large area, and it used to be you drive out and you'd see hundreds of hogs. We're going out nights now and not seeing any. So in that area, we've made a big difference. Now you go one county over, we're not going, and where we don't have access to, and we can scan the fields, and you'll see, we've pushed the hogs out of that area,
right,
or killed everyone that comes in, and so I mean, it's possible to do, but your average hunter that's going out, if you're hitting like we were kind of doing those roads last night in the corn, or you're in a thick area, or you just can't shoot. I don't know what the reasons are, but like if you just have a small areas, if you're killing 2 to 6 out of a 15 group, I mean, you're never going to run out of pigs.
Right.
You may push them off a smaller property, but it also depends on what's on there. If you have a good food source like soybeans, or it's there's some feedlots that I hunt, you can't push them off those. I mean, they're going to keep coming because it's high protein. They want it, and you have to put a ton of pressure constantly to get them. And then even then, there's still stragglers that come in. So it depends on the property, but you can push them off or kill them all. So.
Well, and it was Texas A&M had the Natural Resource Institute research data that shows if you don't kill, was it more than 70%?
I think it's something like. Well, they actually sent a biologist out to where we're doing the buggy stuff because they're interested in it. They watched the videos too.
Yep.
And the biologists come out twice now, and they're like, it's the only place in the United States on all this stuff that they've been monitoring where we've actually, like, they couldn't find pigs with the thermal drones.
Right.
And
so do you have to get over that 70% mark to
just 70%
stops
what
it,
keeps the population
at the same number
because
at the
they're
end of the year.
Reproducing so fast.
Right. And so to win this, you have to get above 80%, and they only identified 2 methods as efficient, which would be cellular trapping and aerial hog hunting. But obviously, you're one of the few guys that is breaking that with the style and setup for hunting that you do. I mean, I know I'm not.
They keep telling us the trapping, and we've done trapping too. Trapping does not get anywhere near the numbers. I mean, you'll get a big group sometimes,
right?
But the way we're doing it aggressively, I've never seen a trapper that can keep up with it. I've never seen dogs that can keep up with it. And people talk crap on the internet all the time or whatever, but we've tried all methods. I don't like the trapping because I don't think it's fun, but I did it because we were trying to be effective. And we had cellular traps, and we had actual ranches with people that, I mean, I hunt some pretty high dollar ranches that have high dollar livestock, and they have me coming in, they have professional biologists, and they're setting out these traps, and they don't do half of what, and they may have a good run there when they're dumb, but eventually they start learning.
Right.
And I mean, they start learning what we're doing now. Again, I don't think we killed all the pigs. We just forced them out of that area.
Yep.
But for that particular farmer,
he is super happy about it.
And it started out with the one farmer that I hunt with. Well, then all the farmers talk, and he's talking, I don't get any more damage. Well, now we have a pretty big area that we're doing. And again, when you have a river or a creek run through, they use those like highways.
Yep.
Every once in a while, you'll have we call them a virgin group.
Yep.
Because we can tell, because when we pull up, they don't know what to do. But we've got it down to a point now that the only time really any gets away is if I'm testing a new weapon system and it fails, or new ammo.
Sure.
Or every once in a while we'll just, they'll beat us to a fence or something. But it's all planned out. I mean, we have the drone up, and then the same thing, shoot from the ground. But even in my heyday when I was at my best, I mean, I wiped out some groups, but not at it's almost every time. But like I was telling you the story last night, it was about 8 to 10 minutes, and we killed 106.
Right.
Five sounders completely wiped out. I think maybe 2 or 3 piglets survived. And a lot of people see the videos. We're talking about this too. They think that we're not killing them all.
Right.
But we've got to the point now. I used to make sure that I hit a central nervous system hit, and I didn't stop until they tumbled.
Yep.
But now I want the videos to look good. I want everybody, but also we're doing it to make a difference. So if I get a hit, usually I'll double tap them.
Right.
But once I have those 2 hits on them, I move to the next, even if they're running. But I can see the hits because I'm so close on it. And we have a drone up above. Like, there's a video I put out the other day that, it's been a couple months now, and everybody's comments are, did you hit one? It was like, the title was like 17 or 18. Well, when you watch the video, I understand why people are saying it, because it doesn't look like it. But we have the drone above. So when we're done, we saw 2, of the 19 running off, and one of them was gimped. But we didn't count him because he was still going. But there were 17 bodies laying in that field. It's just we're going so fast that the average deal, from first shot, not counting, because we come back and clean them up, and like if any of them are wounded, we finish them off. But we don't usually show that part because that gets even more graphic. People don't want to see it.
Right.
People ask that question, but on the average, out of hundreds of these runs, the average is about 8 seconds from first shot to last shot, and it happens fast.
Right.
And then it's over.
You got to be real good to be efficient to do the job here, because in those 8 seconds.
Well, and most of it, I mean, I'm just the door gunner, the
Right.
driver, the guy that drives for me. Well, he shoots too, but I mean, he's the real key to it.
But even on the ground, like if you have an 8-second run, it's like.
But we're covering a lot of ground because we're hauling butt. I mean,
Yeah.
The pigs. I don't know what their top speed is, but we'll catch up to them, and then and then it's first couple of times I got on them, and we go back to make sure they're dead and put them down or whatever, and I knew I think it was maybe 15-20 pigs, but I knew I'd hit every one on that run. But he hit a couple, but he had put them on my side, and I was going, and it felt like, I mean, I was boom, 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 and I was watching them tumble or fall. I was getting some good CNS shots, and we go all the way, and we turn around, and we go back to look. I see one pig, and I'm like, man, I felt like I hit them all. I felt like I did really good. I was really disappointed. He's, oh, you did. But we're going so fast, and the pigs are running at full throttle. This pig was here. The next pig was like 50, 60 yards.
Yeah.
The next pig was 50. And in the video, when you watch it, you do not know that you're covering that much ground. And it's also bumpy. We use the GoPros that have the internal stabilization now.
Yeah.
And it smooths it out. Now that it's a Polaris General, and it's got the full suspension on it, and it rides well, but you're still bumping. So
For sure.
You're feeling all I was telling you, there's times we hit stuff where we're jumping, we're even doing, all we can see is the ground in front of us riding on the front wheels, and you can't see it. We think we got this great footage, and you can't even tell on the GoPros because it stables everything out. But yeah, it's an effective thing. I mean, I think number one, well, and I can't use it. I mean, there's that area I can use it, but there's a lot of properties that I maintain that we can't use it because of the terrain. Hilly.
You can't use the
buggy,
General.
The buggy, because you couldn't keep up, because there's a property that I hunt that it's just naturally hilly, like little hill, almost like a golf course, and there's no way we could, because you'd come in, if we got up to speed, we'd flip over.
Right.
So we managed that with the traditional, well, not the traditional way, with thermal 9-inch.
Right.
So if I was rating it now, if you have the property and you're flat and you know your land, but it's very dangerous. I can't recommend people to do it because there's a lot of stuff going on. One, you're speeding, and anything happen, tire blowout.
Yep. You find a new wallow.
Yeah, a new wallow. Hell, if you're hunting, if you got pivots out there, the tracks where the pivots go, the tires, I mean, they'll grab that whole thing.
Yeah.
So you have to know and then you're shooting out of a moving vehicle, so you got to know. And a lot of people can't tell because in the GoPro it looks dark, but I have the Nox 18 on, so and we know where we're at.
Right.
But I know we're scanning all that while before we're going, so we know if there's cows or if there's a building or whatever. And a lot of people get tunnel vision just standing still.
Yeah. And
then you start getting on a moving vehicle, and the pigs are right here, and they're just tat, so. But that's why he takes me a lot, because he tried a bunch of people, but I kind of pay attention to what I'm doing.
Yep.
So I earned my little gunner door over there.
That's nice. So we've seen with obviously with where we're at now, we've seen the tools that we can use evolve so much better, right? We've had onboard recording that came in, so we could watch our shots back and get better at our leads. Then we started doing hog calls, right, and that would help bring out pigs that we wouldn't have had access to. Now we're seeing drones. Oh, and a side note about drones, that is such a benefit for the landowners, because we can fly over and find our pigs that are downed and recover them and get them out of the field, so they don't find them with any of their equipment later on.
Well, we don't pull any pigs out of the field.
Sure.
That's
well,
part of my deal. I don't touch them.
So for our row crop farmers,
Yeah.
if they hit that 200-pound plus hog with
we have the same
combine.
thing. But we tell them, do you want dead pigs or
Right.
do you want me picking up pigs?
Right.
because if I'm picking up pigs, it takes a long time, especially if you're by yourself. But
yeah,
even with the razor, I mean, when they're 50 yards apart, hook it up, string them out, and now we wasted an hour.
Yeah. Do you want more pigs killed, or do you want them all hauled off to where you want them?
Him, he has ranch hands, or
Yeah.
the other farmers. We'll call them and say, we don't, the next morning, hey, we killed what we think X amount of. Usually it's more than what we thought we killed, but if you want to go out there and pick them, but we don't pick them up. I know a lot of people, the farmers want them to pick up, and it's a smaller operation.
Yeah.
A lot of the places we're hunting are pretty large full-time operations with like ranch hands that live on the property.
Yeah.
So I'm fortunate enough that if I get on a place and they're wanting me to pick up all the pigs, I don't go. But that's my choice.
Well, and I've got some places where that's part of the rules of me being allowed on there.
Yeah.
And
it was that way when I started too.
Absolutely.
And I understand some of it, but most of it we haven't had any complaints.
Nice.
And most of them leave them laying in the fields.
Yeah.
And I don't. Now the no-till guys, they're real big on it out west.
Okay.
The no-till guys, for whatever reason, don't want you leaving them out there because the till guys, they just till it all in.
Yeah.
The no-till guys, then you got all the bones, and generally they just want you to pull it out to the edge of the field,
right,
and leave it. But I don't. I mean, that's a hike for me, so I don't do that out there too much. But and then I know the guys. I did the same thing. I'd waste all night. I mean, picking them up and putting them in a trailer or in a pile, so I'd have a picture. Well, I mean, now we've killed 30 or 40 hogs, but we could have killed 100 hogs if we hadn't spent, for the social media.
Right.
And I've got bad about that, man. I'm killing hogs all the time, and I'm videoing. Hell, I've got tons of video that just never even make it, and then I forget about it and I'll find it later. But it's just, I used to take pictures of them all. I don't know hardly. I mean, what we killed 14 or 15.
Yeah.
And I didn't take a single picture. Y'all took a picture of like the small little group we did at the last on the truck, and we took two with two of those pigs, and that's all the picture. Before, it would have been, let's get the tripods out and
get your lights.
I don't know. I guess I got burned out on all that, and I'm like, I'm here to kill pigs, not to mess around. But I still do it, obviously, because I sell night vision and thermal now. That's my only business. That's where I make my money. So I have to have some kind of social media presence. And I like the video, like photography, and I actually had a photography business for a little bit.
Oh, really?
And the video, I like that. That was my other hobby, photography, and then kind of hunting and guns. And so it played well together.
I was really thinking about trying to dig so much deeper into learning photography, but then as we see that everybody has got an iPhone and we've accepted that as good enough quality as you're just scrolling through, I've kind of decided to just forget about it and just take the pictures of it.
I did it where you get the Milky Way in the back, and
those are cool.
And if it's for your personal pleasure, I mean, and you want it on your wall, they look better.
Right.
As far as, I don't know, there's some people that seem to be really successful with it online, but for the most part, I found if you just snap a picture, at least for social media, if you're putting it in a magazine or it's a professional shoot for a company, you're going to want a little higher quality. But for social media, for the most part, I don't know. I stopped doing it.
Sure.
Because I got frustrated because, well, one, I'm ghost blocked on everything, multiple. I mean, they're to the point now they tell me when if I log into Instagram or Facebook, it tells me the only people that can see your post are people that subscribe to you, and your post is put down at the bottom of the list. And so I hadn't even been putting much on. I liked it. When Instagram was Instagram, I loved it. When I first got on Instagram before Facebook bought it, the way Instagram worked is, if, at least to my understanding, was if you posted a picture on there, yours was on the top for that split second until somebody else. Now, of course, there's hundreds of thousands, millions of people posting on there, but right for that second, you're on top. So if I logged in, I saw your picture, and it didn't matter if it was some weirdo stuff or if it was hunting, But what I liked about it, I saw a lot of stuff I wasn't interested in, but at the same time, I saw stuff that I didn't know existed. Now the way they do it, they show you what they think you want to see, and so you're getting in your feed stuff that they think, and they're not showing you stuff. So like if a guy doesn't, which I don't know who doesn't know about pig hunting, but if a guy doesn't ever look at pig hunting, he's not seeing it unless he specifically searches for it. And like if you pull mine up, I mean, it's fun. If you pull my wife's up, you see some soccer player, I forget what his name is, but that she thinks is cute. And then if you do the search, like a billion pictures comes up. If you pull mine up, it's bikini girls and guns and dead pigs, and that's whatever. And hers is a soccer player and babies, I'm like, so you can tell when you hit your little search bar, and they know you don't even have to like it. They know that you stop, because I'm going through, I see a pile of dead pigs, I sit there and look at it, a bikini comes up and there's some boobies there, I'm like, whoop, oh, and they know that you sit there and they look at it for a split second. I've never liked a single one of those pictures ever, but it knows that my brain stops. I mean, what are you gonna do? I'm a guy.
You just can't help it. You're like, oh, that's interesting. I'm not supposed to, but like, that's interesting.
I've never even searched, because it's I don't want viruses and stuff on my phone, but it's smart enough to know.
So as you've seen the technology progress, what is, now we're actually getting dual base mag thermal scopes. Like last night you were running the Clarion, which goes to 2.0, and then what's the top, 3.8?
It's 2.0 and 3, so on the 640, I wish it would get a higher magnification. Yeah. But, with thermal, even 1X is a pretty big jump. I mean, it's... but
it is significant.
For the longest time, you had to choose from really good field of view to very narrow field of view and magnification. There was nothing in between. And it was one scope. You picked it, and that's what you got. And if you did the wide field of view, you could zoom in, but, digital zoom, you're losing. The first thing that I saw that really crushed that barrel, or that barrier, was I don't know if you have one around here, the Halo LR and the
That's
XRF.
the XRF,
Yeah, but I mean the Halo LR X and the 50 millimeter, I think is the sweet spot, and all three had the same image, just different. But how they did, and they've explained it to me before, but I don't remember now. But it's basically the lens, the sensor, and how they did the screen they chose. It gives, because when those first came out, the 50 millimeter LR. My favorite scope was the 60 millimeter Trijicon. Okay. But the 60 millimeter Trijicon, at that time people were using Trail 1s, and it was 1.6x. Yep. And everybody wanted to get to 30 yards. At 30 yards, I'm seeing an ear on a pig, with 60 millimeter. I'm like, damn. But then once it got farther out, well, when this came out, I got rid of my Trijicons because it crushed it at range. Even though the 60 millimeter, you'd think a 60 millimeter lens would have more, and it does. They claimed it had more, but it was like 0.3 difference in magnification when it really came down to it.
Because that larger lens was able to bring in more data?
Well, it creates more magnification and it lets more data in. But I guess they used a higher quality lens on these. Yep. Because even with the 50 millimeter lens, at distance, it had a clearer picture, and then it had the field of view. So it was like the REAP 35, you had the REAP 35 for Trijicon, or the 135, either one, and the 60. And the InVision, you only lost, it was a couple, like 2-3 foot field of view over the REAP 35, so at 50 yards. And so, I mean, that was like 1 to half of a pig length, which was nothing. So you got both of those scopes in one package with better features and a better image, even though it had the same sensor, because they used a better lens. I don't know, but I think the screen's better too. I don't remember now because I hadn't kept up with the Trijicon stuff. In fact, Trijicon stuff, in my opinion, they've only made it worse instead of making it better. And it's disappointing because more competition is better, at least good competition. But that was the first one that you could do that. You had field of view, and now you're getting some of these. But like on the Clarion, it's cool because like when we were doing those pigs, I was going to use the Leap 6, the rigs last night, but that it would not have worked because they were so close. Yeah. In fact, even 2X was a little bit not enough field of view when they were coming out, but it was workable. But then when the couple came out farther, but it goes blurry in between. The rigs, I don't know if you have any of those, but it has that ocular zoom on the back. Yes. And you don't have to use and that thing is pretty. It's no Envision, but it's also $3,800.
Yep.
And I've been really impressed with those rigs. Even though they're Chinese, I don't like all that, but it's a good unit for the price. But we talked about this too. The Chinese, the Communist Party is subsidizing all these people. They're trying to run the European and American companies out of the market. That's their goal. A Rick Sleep 6 does not really cost you $3,800. If they were playing fair, it would be somewhere, I think, $5,000 to $6,000. But the Chinese government subsidizes these companies to make it cheap. Why are they doing that? Because the end goal is to drive all these other people out. And then once they drive all these, everybody's, we want to keep them because they're cheap. Well, you're running American companies out of business and friendly companies out of business. Now you're going to have the Chi-Coms. They're going to be the only one. It's like electric bikes. You can't hardly find. There's a couple of companies that make electric bikes in Europe or the United States, but they're using all Chinese components. Why? Because the Chinese did the same thing in the electric bike. They came in super cheap until they ran everybody out of the business, and then they steadily raised their price. And now they're the same price as everything else. But if a competitor comes in and tries to start, they lower their prices again until they run them out of business.
Right.
And it's just there's multiple reasons that I sell the Chinese scopes now, and I'll admit that Rick 6, I think it looks better than some of the, especially it looks better, I think, than anything in its price range. But it looks better than $5,000 and $6,000, and it'll do what two $5,000 scopes do with that ocular zoom. So I mean, it's a value for its money, and that's hard to deal with. But they're screwing us over in the long run. But I carry them now because it kind of hurts my heart a little bit. But
right.
That's what people want. I understand. I mean, hell, it's hard right now. The economy's bad, so people always want cheaper stuff. At first, they sucked. They were cheap, and I didn't carry them because I didn't like the Chi-Coms, and I didn't like communists. That's the main thing. And I knew they were our number one enemy, and then the quality wasn't there. But they've come a long way. Unfortunately, the support we've given them, and then we have all kind of people violating ITAR, telling them what to do and what buttons to put on there and how to improve. Total violation. We're helping the enemy to make a buck or to save a buck. Some people to save a buck, some people to make a buck, but we've helped improve them tremendously in a short amount of time. And all those are ending up in Iran, Africa, Taliban, which, I mean, our damn government gave the Taliban a bunch of stuff, so it's hard to say too much about that. But they're supplying Russian. There's sanctions coming. I think they're starting now, either yesterday or today, and a lot of these companies are probably going to start getting shut down. But they're doing it in my opinion, they're doing it for Ukraine, which I don't care what your opinion is. I don't think we should be spending money over there. Whatever, hell with them. But they're doing it for Ukraine instead of trying to save American technology and jobs. And it's not only the jobs, which is important, but it's also our military. I mean, if we're not staying on top of this, they've caught up to us.
Right.
Now, there's some high-end, we were talking about there's a little bit of shadowing in some of these Chinese. I don't know if you call it shadowy, but a blur when you move. It used to be worse.
Yep.
And I see that. And there's little things they do, but there's also little things that they do really well. And but they're catching up at a rapid pace, and we do not want them to surpass us.
Right.
And we're helping them along. And then what do they do when they run all that? I mean, right now they're trying to build chip factories in the United States. Just because if they say no and they cut it off, it's cut off. Well, all these drones, all their apps. I guarantee you these apps for all these thermals, I don't really use the apps, but when you download your video, you're giving them a geolocation. They're stealing all that information.
Yep.
But I mean, they're doing it from your phone too, so they're doing it so many ways. But the drones, the drones have become, you said that, they're highly effective.
Yep.
But people are flying these drones over, and they're sending all that information. They're mapping out everything. They know they've got all that information and map. Of course, you can map it with a satellite, but why do they need a satellite? They got us flying their own drones everywhere.
Right.
It's crazy times.
So on that front, what do you think would actually be an actionable thing that we could do as frontline hog hunters, consumers of this stuff? Other than just like, I get it, vote with your money, don't buy stuff with Chinese.
The government in my opinion, they should be banned.
Okay.
And a lot of people aren't going to like that. And it's not for me making money from Huey Outdoors, and even if I wasn't selling stuff, they should be banned because we're supporting our number one geopolitical enemy. But other than that, I mean, so they're putting, what is it, 100% tariff on electric vehicles, which is going to affect electric bikes, which I like. And all my electric bikes are Chinese because I can't find one that doesn't have Chinese parts in it anyways. But so all electric bikes are going to go up tremendously. But my thing is, at the very minimum, the government should put a tariff where this Rix L6, that's really a $6,800 scope, it should be $6,800. You know, it's not fair because, one, the American companies they don't have slave labor.
Right.
Two, China owns 95% of germanium, which, if you don't know, I know you know, but people that are watching, is the lens. Thermal can't see through glass. So, and that's a rare earth material. They own 95% of it. So the government owns the mines. So they're basically giving it to these companies, where our companies have to pay a premium for that germanium. And then on top of that, you have the subsidies. And then on top of that, we did most of the development. They just steal it. And, you know, they'll steal our units. That's why we have ITARs trying not to get them over there.
Yep.
But I sell, I've had multiple people try to steal units from me. I've caught all of them so far and got them busted, but I know there's some that get away and then they ship them over there, or they just, you know, we got Chinese nationals here all over the place now, and they'll buy it and they'll just illegally ship it back saying it's something else, take it apart, figure out how it works, and, you know, reverse engineer it. And again, they're not to the point where we are, but if you look, I mean, you know, you got an eye there.
Yep.
I forget what it is, the bolt, you know, they basically copied, you know, the Thermion, which you could say the Thermion copied the ATN, whatever it was, but they're, you know, they're great at cloning things.
Right.
Anyways, we got off on a weird tangent.
No, I love it. Believe me, this is something that I kind of wanted to get into, and you organically went there. So no, that was great. So what is something that as you've seen the technology get better and better and better and change and develop, what is something that you want to see come out in gear and technology that would make us more efficient, better hunters, you know, on this war on pigs?
Man, so that's one of my faults. I have a hard time. I can tell you, right now, they do almost everything I want. I mean, it wouldn't make us more efficient, but I'd like recording on like the Knox, just so I can show people how, you know, stuff like that, ones that don't have recording. But I think eventually, which it's going to be super expensive because of the germanium, but having like something like the Clarion that doesn't get blurry, like you could go from 2 to 9 like you could on a traditional day scope without getting blurry in between. But that's going to be very expensive. There's a lot of problems that go on. I like fusion. I know a lot of people don't. I like true fusion.
Sure.
Most of the fusion that you're going to see, the technology isn't there yet because they have to match up the same magnification and the same field of view, and most of them don't work well. But the true fusion that like the military guys use, that's super expensive,
the stuff we can't get access to.
I've used it and it's badass.
Yeah.
And for certain applications. So I mean,
I'm glad our guys got that stuff.
That's a wish list, but it's not necessary. I mean, to me, I still say out of everything that I have access to, that XRF does everything that I need. And the only time that I feel like I'm at a disadvantage is when I get in real thick country and the targets are inside 30 yards. Other than that, you know, if I had to choose, there's nothing that I would choose that would replace it. It could take 18 650 batteries, has field of view, magnification, clear, rangefinder, recording, has everything that I want.
Yep.
You know, so now, I mean, something may come out that I can't even think about. The pan tilt systems.
Yep.
I was telling you last night, you know, I got a pan tilt system. The first time I saw one, I hated it because we were testing it, and everybody, everybody in the truck had night vision. At that time, we were using thermal monoculars. We didn't even have them helmet mounted. We were just holding it up. You had thermals on your rifle, but everybody had night vision and IR laser. And we're driving around scanning with thermal monoculars and night vision, and they put that thing on there, the pan tilt, and you had the screen. It blinded everybody in the truck. You couldn't see with your night vision. It was really pissing me off. I hate this thing, you know. And then they wanted me to use it, and I'm like, I have no desire. They sent me one anyway, and it sat there in the box for a while. And finally they call, you know, why haven't you tried? So I put it on, you know, just to, my theory was I was going to appease them, use it, and then either never use it again or send it back. But now, that is probably one thing that if I don't have, but I hunt big areas, and I hunt out of my vehicle a lot. And that thing, one, it's raised up, and it makes, I can sit in my vehicle. You know, if we're in the buggy, I don't put it on the buggy because we don't have glass. Well, we have glass windows, but they flip up, and I can see out with the whatever helmet mounted thermal I'm using, usually in the Nox, you know, on there. But that pan tilt system, I think, is awesome. And the one I have now, the original ones were the Rovers, and mine broke, and hell, I sold it to somebody, and it broke, and they can't even fix it. You know, they don't even know how to work on the damn thing. And now they switched to all Chinese, which I sell Chinese stuff now, but you know, it's just they're not the quality that I saw they were. But there actually is one in the workings now. I don't know if it's going to be good or not.
Sure.
But if it comes out half of what it's supposed to be, you know, it'll be exciting. But that pan tilt system, like if I go out now and I don't have that pan tilt system, I don't even want to be there, because I'm thinking, how did I used to do this? Hanging out with a monocular, trying to scan, and you just can't see as far, and you know, I can sit in the heat or the air conditioning. I mean, yeah, first world problems, but I'm spoiled. Yep. I'm spoiled. But that's how much difference. You know, the one I have is basically made by a guy at his house. I mean, it's not even a professional deal. It's one, I mean, he sells them, but you know, maybe 5 or 10 a year, I think. Because I asked him, I wanted to sell them in my store, and he wasn't interested because he just builds them when he needs cash. You know?
Sure.
But this other one that's coming out is going to do everything that thing does, and I think way better. Has a lot of features. They actually contacted me about it, and several other people, and you know, asked for our input. People that actually use them a lot, and I think it's going to have everything that it needs on it. But that's one of the biggest things, I think, is that pan tilt system. Other than that, everything's kind of the same. I mean, pigs are always evolving. I mean,
yeah,
you know, now, at least where we're at, they'll hardly ever go out in the open field. They'll hang out on the edges. I mean, hell, like I told you, the corn in the major places I hunt, they haven't hit the corn in 2 years. Now they're back. To get them, I'm having to go back into the woods, you know, on the e-bikes. That's where the e-bikes have come in.
Yeah.
So it depends on the property. There's other properties, like the hilly property, they're still there every time I go, because there can be this table can be a 1,000 yard by 1,000 yard field, and you can see forever, and you get up and you get within 50 yards, you usually get to 50, 60 yards now, and you think you got 15, 20 pigs out there. I'm gonna kill every single one because there's nowhere for them to go. Well, as soon as you start shooting, they're smart enough, they get down in between those little hills, and you can't, so I get 1 or 2, so it might as well be a forest that I'm hunting.
Right.
So that property, you know, I'll probably never wear them out enough that they're not there, but I keep them at bay. But so, you know, a lot of that depends on your area.
Well, like my best friend will say, we've killed all the dumb ones.
Yeah.
So now it's just the smart ones left behind, and these ones, you know, they're a lot harder to hunt because they're smart, and so the
mother sows will teach them too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like the trap thing. If you don't trap every single one, and that's, you know, when the cellular traps came out, that's what made them effective, because, you know, if the trap was just tripping itself, then there was a bunch, and if a sow sees that, and I mean, they're stupid. There's like stupid people. You know, you got stupid people that do stupid things all the time. But the average person, if they saw that happen, would teach their kids, hey, don't run out into traffic.
Right.
You know, don't do, you know, whatever. And the sows do the same thing. And then they're smart enough that they teach each other. So the first time those cellular traps work great, but I have a guy that he has cellular traps, and he loves them. He sits there and watches it, but he doesn't have the patience. He sees it, and 1 or 2 walks in, he gets so excited, he hits the button, and it claims, well, not only does it run it for him, but it runs it for everybody else, and then it spreads, and they start teaching. So that's why I say the traps, I mean, yeah, they'll work great if you have virgin pigs, but eventually you have people like that that mess it up.
Yep.
And like we talked about shooting from the vehicle. I hunt out. I beg people, don't shoot at the damn pigs from your vehicle. But people are lazy. They'll roll up or they're poaching and they just shoot out their window. And I can tell when I go to a property with the pan tilt system, most pigs don't care about vehicles. They're used to vehicles driving by, or I'll go slow. But people are always driving by, even in the most remote places. I mean, on a Friday, Saturday night, they're going to their friend's house and coming back because they had a party or whatever. The kids, the kids are always driving the roads back on the way. So there are always cars moving, even in the most remote places. And they're used to those cars driving by and not even knowing they're there. But then when you start shooting at them, now that vehicle, and they'll just hear the caliche road, the gravel, 500-600, and I'm watching them run away. And I know some dumbass has been here shooting pigs from a vehicle.
Yep.
And then you got to change. It makes everything difficult. So then I'll get to that. I'm like, who is it? You're letting one of your ranch hands hunt, one of your kids. Are you shooting them? Because you're going to make it to where, I mean, the only way I'm going to get them is to walk. And if you're hunting a 100-acre property, I guess it doesn't matter.
Right.
But when you're hunting large properties, if you're walking, you're not going to cover. I mean, I'll cover. I used to hunt. There was a 900-acre property next to my in-laws, and I would hunt it all night. It was 900 acres, and I'd cover most of it walking.
Yep.
But I can cover that whole property now, in 30 minutes, because there's nice. Most places I hunt, there's oil well activity, so there's nice roads.
Yep.
And I can, they're better than the county roads, and I can go down and cover everything. But if somebody goes in there and messes up, we're back to walking, and you're not gonna.
Yeah, it's that much more time consuming. It's that much harder on us, and so therefore it's made us less efficient, and we don't get a better end result.
You're not going to wipe them out because they run off.
Right.
And so I tell them all the time, please, whoever's doing this, please. It's usually their kids.
Sure.
Yeah, because they just teenagers that are lazy and just wanting to shoot a pig, and they see it and get excited.
I remember being 18 and dumb.
Yeah,
that was great.
Yeah. So, and I mean, I've shot them from vehicles. When I first got the electric bikes, I was having fun chasing them on the electric bikes, but we chase them on the buggies.
Yeah.
But the difference in the buggy is, again, we're wiping out 98%. When you're killing 14 out of 15 or 15 out of 15, there's really not anybody left to teach.
Right.
And it doesn't make a difference. So if you're able to chase them in your vehicle and kill 14 out of 15, then do it. The problem is you're usually getting one or two, and then the rest of them run off, and then as they're having piglets, they start to teach them, hey, when you hear this gravel cracking, run.
Yes. Yeah.
So there's ways around it. Like I said, I got electric bikes, but electric bike, I can't carry as much ammo. I can't carry it. I got air conditioning, I got heating in the truck. There's the bikes are fun, but I don't always want to ride my bike. When it gets really super dark and you can't see the holes and stuff, it gets a little hairy. Going on the bike, even with the best night vision. So
right.
The truck, if I hit a hole, generally even if it rolls over, I'm okay. I'm just pissed off.
Yeah. So right there, you threw in some tips. Don't shoot from the truck for these reasons, and that's what'll make you more efficient at this work. So those videos that you make that do that, where you're sharing tips, those are my favorite videos of yours that I consume off of you. What are your favorite ones to make?
I mean, I like killing the pigs.
Yep.
So, to me, if it's not killing, in fact, I've got to the point where I felt like if I wasn't killing 20 or 30 pigs out of a group, I'm not even going to show the video because it's worthless. We killed 10. That sucks.
Yeah.
And I just never show that footage because, if something didn't work out or it just, they ran into the cows or whatever. But I've started showing more of that stuff now. But what was another thing? Hell, we've been up now for 2 days, so
yeah.
My brain's not working the best. But there's things that we do that just because we do it all the time that we don't even think about as being something that people don't know. So I'm doing these things naturally, not even knowing it's something that, and I forget what it was, but I think it was a welder. I don't weld, and he was doing something, and I was like totally amazed. And to him, it was just a normal thing. And so I try to think about that now. And I'm trying to do more educational videos, but I just like making the videos. But the most fun to me is I have the most fun now on the buggy.
Right.
The buggy is fun to me. I'm about performance. I'm a performance guy. If it looks good, that's great. But if it performs, I'll take the ugliest thing you have over the hot looking thing if it performs. That's just how I'm wired. And the buggy is in the right situation. I haven't found even the helicopters. I mean, helicopters are good, but in the right situation with the right driver, it's very effective. So, and then next would be the thermal night vision from the ground.
Right.
But you know, so I enjoy, and it's hard because I'll make a video, and you're never gonna please everybody. I got people make more buggy videos. We love the buggy videos, and then I got friends of mine that I know. Hey man, you've been making. I'm bored with the buggy videos. You know, Can you make something else? Well, I'm making the buggy videos because one, they're effective, and I'm having a blast at it. You know, so it's about me having fun. You know, so but I'm getting back to the other because we've worn out all the pigs in that area anyways, and so the only place I have left with pigs are not where I can use the buggy. So getting back to the other anyways, but I try to balance out. Hell, music. You know, I put music in something. I like putting the music in because I like videography and trying to make it. You know, I used to put a lot more time in it than I do now, but you know, I'll put a song in, and you'll get 1,000 comments that song was perfect, and then you'll get 1,000 comments. God, please leave the music out, and then you'll get, would you use a different type of music? You know, so I switch all of it up. There's some videos that I've made that I don't even like the music in it, but I know people are like it, so I put it in there, and I try to switch it up. But hell, I hadn't really been doing videos now for had all the heart issues, so I did little videos, but I've just now started getting back into doing the videos again. So we'll see where it goes. I think I've said this on, and we talked about it too, but trying to tell a story. I'm gonna do more of trying to tell a story and just showing behind the scenes. What goes on. We did the bike video and didn't do a good job on this hunt. I had been out of town, was tired when I got here, so didn't really bring all my cameras like I should have. And
I'm just glad you showed up, man.
Stuff, but the goal would be, the true goal and would be like the second I rolled in here, I'd have some kind of camera rolling, even when I just met you, and then show getting ready. That's what I'm trying to go for. That and educational videos and just videos on products showing how they work. Because again, to me, I know that most of these work the same way. I forget people. There's always new people. Hell, there's states, continues. Alaska just made thermal and night vision hunting legal for, I don't know what, I guess wolves and coyotes, I don't know, but it wasn't legal until just a month or so ago. So there's not a lot of people in Alaska, but there's new states coming in all the time that are making it. It seems to get more and more. People are getting used to it.
Yep.
I had a stigma for a while that everybody's poaching with this stuff, which I'm sure there are some, but
sure,
there's people poaching with everything. You're not gonna.
They're gonna break the law anyways.
Yeah.
So it's you can't punish us for their.
Well, you can because they do all the time.
You're right. It's wrong to punish us for somebody else's.
Well, so we talked about this too, the buggy thing.
Mm-hmm.
People are wanting me to teach them how to do the buggy. I show the buggy because I know it's effective, but I actually don't want to teach people how to do the buggy because it is dangerous, and people are there's already been people get hurt that are trying to copy what we're doing, and we've just been lucky that we hadn't had a blowout or something. I mean, it's still, hell, driving in the daytime can be dangerous. I mean, anything can be dangerous.
Sure.
But you have enough people shoot livestock, shoot houses, wreck out, then they start making regulations on it and punishing everybody because the idiots start getting involved. So it's kind of a catch-22. I like showing it, but then I don't want it to get messed up.
Right, because there could easily one day, this sounds ridiculous, but also, like, the more you think about it, it could happen, a ban on hunting from a vehicle.
Well, there's always been a ban. Well, not always, but in modern history, most people, now you can, if you're on private property, you can hunt, and you're not on a public roadway, you can drive a Jeep around,
right,
and then get out and shoot a deer from your shooting sticks.
But with how
you can't chase them down like what we're doing.
Right.
But that's been forever. But I mean, yeah, they could always come and say, you know, we're gonna. I don't think they. I mean, hell, they're gonna let you. They'll let you use flamethrowers and hot air balloons.
Yeah.
But you never know.
But you can just see the government coming up with some stupid thing like that.
We've got more and more morons moving here from California and different places all the time. I mean, they just did the weird regulation on mountain lions for canned hunts that I don't think really are even a thing.
Right.
But that's just a step. Hell, they're starting to do stuff with some of the state agencies. Their pest, I forget what they're called, but they're pest control guys, where they won't let them. Before it was, kill everyone you see, and now it's, well, unless you get a complaint, don't shoot it. And I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But it's from people complaining because they're, oh, the poor piggies, So there's potential for that because we're getting, as these liberal states decline, we're getting people here and they don't seem to figure out that they were the problem and try to bring the same thing here. So, I mean, hell, say 7% of the U.S. population thinks chocolate milk's come from brown cows. So, I mean, what are you going to do?
Oh, man.
I mean, how do you fix that?
Oh. I didn't realize it was that high.
That's 7%.
That's sad.
I mean, and I legit get comments from people that, tell you, why are you shooting animals? Why don't you go to the store and just buy the meat at the store instead of having to kill an animal? Okay.
Yeah.
And there's no... People don't understand either. I mean, a lot of the places that we're hunting, hell, the farm hunting is an organic farm.
Mm-hmm.
No poisons. Well, the only way to get rid of this stuff is to do what we're doing. But even just taking a tractor with a plow, you're killing mice, snakes, rabbits, all kinds of stuff. If you go to the store and you're a vegan because you don't want to kill, you're there to get that to the store. There is so much stuff dying from point A to point B that you have no idea. And if you actually started growing your own food and enough to sustain yourself, you're going to start killing stuff too, because rodents, things are going to get in there. And people say build a fence. I guess, if you're trying just to do enough, you may be able, and you're super wealthy, you can build a fence. But one of the biggest properties I hunt, they put all hog panel, but trees fall down, storms happen, the pigs push it up. I mean, does it block them in for a certain time? Yeah, but we're not talking about 100 acres. We're talking about 45,000 acres, 36,000 acres, 20,000 acres. I mean, it's even with people going out on horses, and a lot of these don't have roads. They're still doing it. Most of it is done by horseback, or now buggies and ATVs, but still a lot of horseback. And you got to ride all those and find where they're, and then you ride it and a tree falls down because of the wind right behind it, or a tree just dies and falls and crushes it, and you've done check this 9, and now you got, I mean, it's a never-ending battle.
Right.
It's not, and it's expensive. Fencing is expensive.
Yep.
So now with the cost of the way everything's going, and the cost of fertilizer and seed and all that, I know a lot of the dairies that I've talked to, and I hunt a dairy, they're actually fencing in theirs with hog panel, because the cost of the feed and the amount of the cost that they're losing from the pigs is getting so high that it was actually cost effective for them to put the fence in. But again, unless you're maintaining those fences constantly, they still get in.
Right.
I mean, so that comment, I'd never seen that comment, and I guess it's because of the border wall, but the liberals seem to be using that quite a bit lately. Just build a fence. Build a fence. And that's a phenomenon that I've only noticed in like the last year. Before, I'd never had that comment. But again, you can't do it. I mean, you can, but it's a lot of maintenance, and most places are not going to keep up with it,
right?
Unless you're just super, super wealthy and you have other incomes, and this is just a fun toy for you. And then I have places I go to that are like a park. I mean, it's a 10,000 acre park for a very wealthy family, and they have people out there that they mow the grass just like your yard, but 10,000 acres worth of it, and it's beautiful. But they still get pigs in because there's creeks and rivers, and they put up all kind of fences, electric fences. I watched cornfields pigs push through electric fences. They just it'll shock them, they'll get back, and then they just run.
Yep.
And power through it. And the big one goes and makes the hole, and the rest follow. And so keep some of the deer out, but the deer will jump over.
Right.
So, anyways,
one thing I've noticed is that
this is like I feel all random, like my brain. Is
no,
all
this is
random.
great. This is great. Well, this has actually been an accurate representation of how the weekend went because
well, my brain is always like it's always back and forth. It's weird.
for the ADHD in me, like this is wonderful. Like let's just keep changing the topics that we're on. I love it. So then again, this has been similar to how the weekend has been.
Yeah.
So obviously you're putting yourself out there on social media, and with how many people you have met and interacted with over the years, you love telling stories. What is your favorite one that you like to tell?
Well, I don't know.
You have one that's just like, yeah, man, this is kind of a go-to. It's always a crowd pleaser.
I don't know, man. Hell, I forget most of them these days. I think I forgot the best ones. All that anesthesia stuff messed up my memory. I don't know. I don't know what the best one would be. Depends on the situation. Depends on the crowd. Some stories are not for everybody.
Yep. Yeah.
So, depending on who I'm talking to. If there's ladies in the room, then probably
Sure.
not the best story. Sometimes if there's guys in the room, it's not the best story. So or young children. So you never know who watches. I forget that young kids. I was telling you that too. I'll go to a show or something, and parents will walk up with their young kids, and want to take pictures with me and stuff. And we watch, and I'm like, I'm dropping the F-bomb constantly.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, only adults are watching. I didn't realize that kids were watching, and so I try to stop it, but I slip back into it. Especially when I start getting tired. Well, I'll ramble. The tighter I get, the more I start talking.
You must have been tired all weekend.
I'm super tired.
Well, and so you've talked about how since your heart problems, you've lost so much just energy just the gumption to do all this. I guess it's maybe an easy answer, but like, how has that really affected from what you were doing before your heart problems to where you are now?
At first it slowed me down for a few months, and then basically, I've told you the whole story. Most people don't know, but they gave me the wrong medicine, and it caused me to go into AFib, even though I was pretty healthy. And then through all that, they found that I had a birth defect in my heart. Mm-hmm. And I'd been complaining that I was tired for a while, and I kept going to doctors, but they didn't. Well, when they went into my heart, they found this birth defect. So I had to have open heart surgery, and I did a particular surgery that was more intrusive, but allowed me not to be on meds and no restrictions. So I went with that, but it caused a full year, basically, of downtime. I still did stuff that I wasn't supposed to do, but I couldn't do what I wanted. And then they've also had me on like a beta blocker, which slows you down.
Mm-hmm.
And it slowed me down a whole bunch. So like right now I'm still on them because I have a weird rhythm because of the scars on my heart that they didn't think were going to be there. So I'm probably going to have another deal done, but hopefully once I get that on. But that beta blocker, I used to have a lot more energy. And now, even with my heart problem, to me, like I tell the doctors, is I had more energy. I was only getting 20% blood flow and didn't know it. And I was still able, I was running guns, I was running 7 miles, every other day or, multiple times a week, and was doing a lot of stuff. And I knew I was tired, but with everything fixed, because of those meds they're giving me, I am more tired than I was with that. And I'm like, this is BS. The whole point that I went through all this trouble in a year was I'm not supposed to be on meds. But like I said, I went to some weird rhythm. So hopefully that's going to get taken care of, but it just, I stay up all night and I work all day, and so you're already tired, and I'm getting old, and dude, it's 3 years of beatdown.
Yeah.
Because this has been, I died that first time, so today is the 5th, so it's been a year and 1 day since I died, and pretty much every 6 months since that happened, something has gone wrong. So
you went with us over the past few days, and the what were some of the highlights that you saw that we were doing?
Like, I probably wouldn't have wasted my time with most of what we did. But
Okay.
I have access.
That's a better question. So let me
and not to. I mean, y'all are doing it. I do it for fun, and I had fun.
Yeah.
But like, I wouldn't spend the time that we spent getting the number of pigs. But again, I've gotten lazy and spoiled, and
Right.
I expect high kill counts, and I'm not. But I have access. I mean, people don't have access to what I mean, I've been doing this for a long time.
Yep.
People, whether you love me, I mean, we've talked about it. A lot of people think I'm an asshole because I just try to tell people the truth.
Yep.
And maybe I come across, I don't think I know I'm an asshole, but I can be. I'm not gonna let you push me over.
Sure.
And if you're doing something that I don't agree with, I'm gonna tell you. But I don't try to be an asshole about it. But anyways, not trying to seem like I'm special, because I'm just a normal dude. But I've been doing this for so long, people know who I am.
Yep.
Like, you invited me down. You're not gonna just invite John that you see at the gas station
Yep.
to come hunt with you, because as we talked about, I mean, it can be dangerous and things happen. I mean, even with us, weird shit happen. But I get invited, or people contact me all the time. So I have access, held multiple states that I could go hunt at any time. So if the corn is up, yeah, I know they're in there. They're damaging the corn, but I'm not going to really mess with them, because all we're doing is educating them and shooting at them like y'all were pushing them. But we also did, like, if in the areas that we hunted last night, which were all cornfields, what we would do, and now, if you got your drone license and all that stuff, you can push them out of the corn and you can get some. But we would hit that with the buggy. Everything that you hit like that, we would leave them in there, let them be comfortable, let them get real comfortable, and we would hit other areas. And then when they cut that, while they're cutting it, we're going to be sitting out there in the daytime in the buggy, and then we're going to hit it hard. And that's like our corn. That's what we do. Now it's getting damaged, because we saw the damage out there when we were looking last night. The pigs are damaging that, but we'll hit them really hard. And like I said, the areas we're hunting for really the last 3 years, but there was some damage 3 years ago. But the last 2 years, there's hardly even a pick print in the corn, where most of the places. We'll get a new little group in and we'll get them, but that's how we would do it. We would hit other areas while the corn is high, unless some of the farmers, like we got on that one turn row where
Yep.
we made it wide for it.
Yep.
It's wide there. If you have that, that's workable. We killed over half of that group when it ran through,
right,
except for the small ones. Some of the small ones got away. So if you talk to the farmers and they're getting damaged enough, and they'll cut rows like that for you to make you shooting lanes where it's wide enough you can make a difference. But most of that stuff was just one vehicle wide, and I mean, I'm not near what I was, but I'm still okay. And they're coming so quick. I mean, you just have to hold a spot and just and that's it, and it's over, and you get 2 or 3. Again, I guess that's making a difference, but in all reality, they're going to reproduce that in 3 weeks.
Yeah,
and they're gonna triple. That group is going to triple what you killed, and now you've stirred them up. Where when we leave them in there, they're smart, but they don't seem to figure out that once they harvest that corn, that there's not a protected area right at first. And so they'll be out right in the big middle, because they've been used to sitting out there, and you come in and just wipe their ass out. So I guess but again, that comes down to, I have access. I can go to West Texas tomorrow. In fact, in 3 days from now, I'm going to be in East Texas, where you're hunting here, and I can pick and choose where I'm going to go. So I'm going to go where it's productive. Like right now, there's some cattle ranches where the grass is tall right now because we had so much rain, but usually by this time of year, they've kind of grazed it down, or they've already started. They probably made, I don't know, since it's been so wet, but started making hay, and that's cut, and I'll have them out in the open. So I'll go where I can make the biggest difference at that time and kind of move around.
So like
So that doesn't work for everybody.
Yeah.
But for y'all stuck here, I mean, you're if you're in East Texas, or you're in Florida, or like here, I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
Well, it felt like we were doing all the work that we could to get every single one, even if that meant we were just working, and eventually just having to send Homer off.
Oh yeah, Homer running off in there, and you chasing that one. I would have never spent that much time on one pig. In fact, again, I've gotten so lazy that, I guess it's lazy, but if I see a group of pigs way out there on a tree line,
Mm-hmm.
and I look out there, generally I know that I'm going to find something, or I'll wait until they come out and I'll go look for others and I'll come back.
Sure.
I'm not going to waste my time to go out there because I know that where they're positioned at that time, I'm going to get a few, and then I'm going to educate them and make them jumpy. I will wait until I get them in the, and that's just something that's come with time. You want to kill them right then. And I used to do the same thing, man. I see a pig, I'll walk 1,000 yards. Hell, I'll walk miles to get it. And now I wait until I get them in kind of the prime spot where I get the most bang for my buck.
Right.
But again, I'm going every night. I'm not your person that, this is my job now. I'm retired. So, I mean, I sell night vision thermal, but this is my job. And, used to, I might get to go. I was fortunate to get to go, 1 weekend a month. And there's people that may get to go 1 weekend in a year, and you're gonna do it. But so my thought process is different on all
for
that.
sure.
Than,
Like, because we're trying to figure out like what work do we need to do.
Kevin, he said it multiple times last night. What's his deal called?
Nocturnal Solutions.
Nocturnal Solutions. He is responsible for those fields.
Yep.
And he feels bad when he sees that damage.
Yeah.
And he feels like he needs to be doing something.
Yep.
And I understand that too. I've been in that position, and he got the pigs out of that field, multiple fields last night.
Right.
How much of a difference is that making? I don't know. If you push them enough, then they'll move to the farmers that don't have them out there, and he fixed the problem for those farmers. So it makes a difference. It's just, again, I would just go to other areas because I have it. So.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know if I really answered that question because it makes sense for me, but for the average person, it probably does because you have what you have, and you have to deal with what you have to deal with.
Well, and we have to figure out how we can put in the work to make it happen for the pig that we have in front of us, versus like you have the capability to just move on into what can be a more effective, because overall higher percentage of kills, because you've been doing this so long, you've got you've built up the contacts.
I think pigs move too. So,
for sure.
So on my family's property, we run cattle.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have. We used to plant oats. Don't even plant oats now. It's just all grass. And every time it's about time, for harvest and stuff, the pigs disappear. Well, the closest place that they do any crops is like a 30-minute drive on the highway.
Okay.
And what I figured out was when they're, right at planting season and just before harvesting, my pigs seem to be disappearing. And what it is they're going over there to get the easy food. But then I didn't think they would travel that far. But apparently that's what happened, because I've watched for years now, and it's about the same time that, they don't all leave.
Sure.
But for some reason, my pigs just start to disappear. And because on that property, I don't shoot the pigs as much because I leave them for my son to shoot. So, it gets tore up a little bit, but it's what it is. I want my son to have pigs to shoot at. He's 8 and he loves it, and so I don't kill him off as much as I do on other places. But they disappear without pressure, and that's the only thing that I've figured out. I don't have proof that that's what's happening, but it's the only logical thing. Why at the same time every year do most of the pigs just kind of, and they're not showing up on cameras, they're not showing up on anything, and it's because 30 minutes down the road, there is milo, corn, whatever, and they're disappearing for that. The other thing I've noticed is over the years, they will, again, I'm just using this table as this is your whole farm, and you got this field, and you got this field. They hit this field and eat it up, because I don't know if it's nut grass or some kind of grub, but they hit this field every July and root it up. They hit this field, and it's the same spots. I don't know if it's a mineral or a root, but
not even the field, but like the spot in the field.
The spot in the field. It's the same ones. And I've been doing it long enough now that now I know this is the July field. So we got to start watching it before they tear it up and push them out of it. And this is the April field. and this is the November field, the pecan orchard, because the pecans are falling. So, once you hit in the same spots, like they're random, but there are patterns. So that's something that I found really helpful, because if you're getting, and they'll only hit that, they'll tear that field up in July, and then you won't see a pig in it for the rest of the year. You might catch a boar crossing it or something, but for the most part, there's nothing in it. And I've seen properties where pigs are all around them, and it should be perfect, and they won't hit this property. And the only thing I can figure is, for some reason, they think that's a danger. I was hunting that 46,000 acre ranch, and when I told you, the boundaries to the next property where there was a crazy old lady that didn't want you shooting pigs or anything, and the trails coming into that ranch were massive. I mean, they're highways, and within 3 to 6 months, the grass started growing up. They knew that fence line. They're smart enough to know that fence line was the boundary, and they stopped coming on this side of the fence. Mm-hmm. And it's a huge property. Mm-hmm. And I would say there was one, I made a video about it years ago, throwing rocks at a pig, trying to get him to move to a property where somewhere I could shoot him. But they figured that stuff out, and he was perfectly safe. He didn't care I was there at all.
Right.
Yelling at him.
Right.
And just, screw you.
Yeah.
I'm safe here. So they're smart, but you can make a difference, and you can push them off with enough pressure. It's just, I don't know. I don't know, because like I said, I think I would, again, I'm the wrong person to ask about that, because I would avoid that situation because I have other options.
Right.
And I was thinking that last night. We're going up, and I'm thinking, I'm having fun. And that was what this trip was about, have fun and everything. So I'm having a good time, and it's different, but I'm thinking to myself as it's going on, it was totally different for me, because I felt like, well, one, I was off a little bit. I was trying to get everything figured out, but I was thinking to myself, I don't think I'd be spending the time to do this if I was by myself. I'd be waiting till this corn. Now, as soon as that corn's shredded, or if I could talk to farmers, hey, I know this much cutting your turn rows like this cost you money, but how much are these pigs costing you?
Right.
You may have to do this for 2 years until I can get the pigs trained not to come in your field, and then you won't have to do it anymore because they're not going to.
Well, like, so on last night's hunt, the very first pig we shot, the only space we had to shoot it,
I couldn't see it,
was in that tire track.
Yeah,
that was it.
I'm in the road with you.
Yep.
And I saw it at first, but I was waiting so we could double tap it.
Yep.
But that's why I told you, I was like, if you see it, because I didn't see it when it came out the next time until you fired, and when you fired, I saw the very top of its ears.
Yep.
But that was it. I never had a shot.
And then later in the night, when we had, where they've got this farm road through there, and they had plenty of space on both sides, where the water runs, and we had this huge, area to shoot in. Man, like, we could get way more, and so that's something I think
that's where somebody shot too fast and kept them, should have let them come maybe a little bit farther out into the field, and then somebody moved maybe to an area they shouldn't have been at, and then somebody wasn't paying attention, so that it got weird.
Yeah. So like, bringing up that whole, like, ask the farmer to not plant on that very end, man, like. Those are things that I'm picking up that I just wouldn't even think of, because I was born and raised farming and ranching, and so I'm sitting there thinking,
well, hell, we didn't have this problem.
That's all money that they're trying to make, and you're telling them don't plant that money, and like, well,
but it depends on how much you're losing,
right? Yeah, because when you also send that drone up, and you can get that aerial photography of how much money they're
hauling
losing.
Out. You'll look at that and it looks like a perfect field, but it's hollowed out on the inside.
One thing
totally lost that crop.
And I've noticed that they don't do that on the edges. They do all the damage in the middle.
Depends on if you have a tree line over here or like a river or something.
Right.
They'll do it all. At least where we're at now, it used to be out in the center. They won't touch the center. Everything is just because they won't come. They like, this is a death trap.
Yeah.
They will only come to the very edge, and so only that very edge gets damaged, which. But now we don't even have that as much. I mean, but back in the day, because they feel safe, you look at that crop, and then you can walk in it in the daytime, and it's like a tornado hit out there.
Yeah.
Because they're pushing over. And Kevin was talking about, the farmers get pissed because they'll take one bite out of an ear of corn
Yep.
and leave the rest of it.
Yep.
Now, they'll come back, and I've noticed that too. Like, I don't really bait anymore,
Sure.
but when I was baiting and doing, if you spread corn out on the ground, they'd come, sometimes they'd eat it all, sometimes they'd leave some of it, but they'd hang out there for a minute. But if you put it, you know what a pick pipe is?
Yes.
So the pick pipes, I noticed, you put the pick pipe, for whatever reason, they want to work for their food, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll push that there. Hell, they would sleep by it, and they would just keep pushing, even though only like one or two little kernels are coming out. I don't know why, but something about it made them stay.
It's that reward system.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that, you know, like, oh man, I do a thing, I get this reward, it's great. And it's,
But you could pile a
kind
whole
of
pile
fun
of
too.
corn. Sometimes they would eat it all. Sometimes they'd just come eat
Right.
for 5 seconds and then move on, and then, you know, they'd be back the next night or whenever.
Well, cellular trapping doesn't work at all in a cornfield. What are you going to bait it with?
Oh, it can work. You put something in there. There's always something. They like the smell of like
That strawberry, raspberry,
I think it's anise oil. The flavor for black licorice.
Okay.
Something about pigs. I hear they really like it. Obviously, you know, they use pigs in places to find truffles and stuff like that. But you can put stuff out there that's gonna, I mean, pigs will eat anything. But it's like you. I mean,
I've never seen a truffle feeder.
They're probably pretty expensive, I think. But so you walk into a restaurant and you got, I don't know, chicken nuggets over here and a ribeye steak.
Yeah.
You know, you eat chicken nuggets every day with the kids. You get ribeye steak, you know, once a month. Well, oh yeah, you know, I'm gonna. So you could put stuff in there to.
That's true.
To I guess, but you know, they start figuring out the traps anyways.
Yep.
But then also, how expensive is it going to be to regularly use that bait? I don't know.
Right.
You know, there's what this will piss a lot of people off too, but especially the people that sell it. But the scent blocker. I noticed, you know, in the shower here when I'm staying, you have all the scent blocker soap. It doesn't matter because a pig has, I think it's 1,000 times more sensors in its nose than a bloodhound does. And I've watched bloodhounds or working dogs find drugs in gas tanks that are totally submerged in, and I guess it's residue that hit something.
Sure.
But they've washed them, they've done everything. I've seen them find explosives. I've seen, and pigs are way better. So you're not fooling that pig with any of that. You're blowing your money.
So that was actually sitting in the shower at the deer lease for years. And at some point, we're like, we ought to just get rid of this. And I just ended up putting it over there because we'll burn it up.
Well, I see
I'm
people
kind of done spending my money on it.
They're spraying all this. You know what's happening? The pig is smelling what you ate for lunch yesterday,
Yep.
what you ate for dinner. They're smelling everybody that you came into contact with, and they're smelling that cover spray.
Well, and down here in Texas, we're sweating nonstop. So, like,
And y'all are spraying the mosquito stuff all over you, too.
yeah.
But my theory is most places you're going to go around here, especially farms, there's somebody working out there most times. Only when you get to the most remote spots do they. Like some of these big ranches that have no roads.
Yeah.
And only people are getting back. I'll notice that, you know, on those, they'll win me. But a lot of these places, there's so much activity, there's always human scent in the air. And the wind can blow right at them. And there's I hunt a lot of dairies. And
Right.
dairies are 24-hour, 365. There's always somebody driving around working on something. On a dairy, it's, well, one, you got all the smells of the dairy, which they, attracts them. But there's always somebody there. So the fact that they smell somebody, I've noticed that, it's not as important to use a cover scent as it would be in a remote location where the farmer may only go and plow the field. And, and harvest time, there's all kind of human smell out there, so it's not. But during the rest of it, it may be more important. So, but yeah, I don't know what you could do different. Where, at least you're doing something now with the way y'all are doing it. Because before, it's either sending the dogs, which really just scatter them and maybe get one or two, or we just wait.
Right.
And then once we harvest, you try to do the best job that you can at planting time, and at harvest, you try to do the best job you can and hit them as hard as possible.
Well, and like you brought this up earlier, Kevin has developed such good relationships with those farmers because he has also focused on their fields.
Oh yeah. And I'm not local here, so the places I hunt, I go all over, but some of them I'm closer to, so I can hit on a regular basis. Some every night.
Right.
If he's able to go there every night, again, he may not kill the pigs, But the fact that he's even walking through the field and running them out, they may not, and then you shoot them when you can, they'll stay out of the field.
Right.
And to me, that's a lot of work for little return. You know, you're not killing very many, but it's working for the farmers.
Right. Yep.
So I went a long ways to say, you know, pretty much nothing.
Well, I mean, but just, you know, the situations, it's easy to look at you and say, I want to replicate what he's doing so that way I can be successful. But you also have to realize not everybody has, and you already, you know, acknowledge this, not everybody has the opportunities of the places that you have. Like we have to figure out what tactics
I have a totally different
loadout
for every place. I mean, the one area we use the buggy, and like I said, it's the most effective.
Yep.
But I can only use it in limited spots. It has to be flat. It has to be no fences, you know, and we've hunted some that 106 pigs we killed.
Mm-hmm.
Now there was other fields, but we killed all those in a 40-acre fenced-in area.
Wow.
They all ran the same way, and we had a 40-acre area that we were working, and we killed 106 pigs right there in 8 to 10 minutes.
See, I've got a 2,600-acre ranch that if you are, not mine, but that I have access to, that if you were to get off of the ranch roads in there, you're just tearing
up. Well, that's what the electric bike's for.
Yeah, and so there are big open pastures. There's no way that you're going to do the buggy work that you do. No. So like, it looks super cool, and man, I want to do it. At the same time, it's not feasible.
It's not feasible. It's there's areas where I do the buggy.
Mm-hmm.
There's areas where I go out with thermal and night vision. Most anywhere thermal and night vision is going to work.
Yep.
But there's also areas that I do the electric bike in the daytime, and then I hit them the best I can. But it's so thick.
Yep.
That, you know, it's like what we're doing here. I'm never going to wear them out because killing 2 or 3 out of a group, but I'm keeping pressure, and I may push them onto the next property, and at least the guy that I'm working for, you know, it's going to hurt this next person, but, you know, I mean, what do I do? This guy's letting me do it. You don't let me do it, or you don't want him killed.
Yep.
So at least, like I said, they learn that property line is a danger zone, and they avoid it.
Yeah.
So, but that takes a lot of pressure.
Sure.
You know, you have to stay on it.
Yep.
And I've also known, like I said, that one property, it took 2 years for the pigs to come back.
Yep.
Another property that I hunt has 2 big rivers running through it, and pecan orchards, and then I run cattle with creep feeders, so there's always a food source. I would wear them out, get them down to nothing, and it would take on average, if you didn't maintain it, it would take about 6 months for them to come back. Now this is the one I told you where I killed 2,200 hogs out there, and I think it was 2021 on that one property. And since 2021, I'll go out there and I may kill in a 3-day hunt somewhere between 10 and 40 pigs, which before out there is 60 to 100 a day. And now, you know, and that's hunting day and night. Like, that's not, and then it may be I run into one group and I get 15, and that may be two encounters out of 3 days where I get those, you know, 15 to 40 pigs, or it may be a few, but you know, it's nothing compared to it. You know, I've been out there several times where it's 10 or 20 in 3 days, which seems to me terrible. I'm like, this sucks. You know, yep. Which a lot of people are like, I forget because I'm spoiled.
Yep.
You know, a lot of people, damn, we got 6. You know, and I'm like,
right,
okay. You know,
yeah.
And I've been a Debbie Downer to some people because I'll go and they're all excited, and I'm thinking, man, y'all suck because there was 30 pigs out there and we killed 5. That's terrible odds. You know, you need to fix yourself. And then I've brought people down, and maybe that's where I get the asshole reputation from. But I think about it more now. You know, like these guys don't do it all the time,
right? And
it's been, you know, the best time of their life. You know, I've taken people out. They expect to come with me and shoot a couple. They're happy after 7. You know, or hell, they're happy after 1. And I'm like, God damn, you know, I'm trying to get, you know, more kills for these guys. I know they're disappointed, and really they're happy as they've ever been. And I'm thinking it's a terrible experience because we've only killed a handful.
Yep. So I really try to focus on fun while we're out here, and I've watched so many people just have the time of their life with 2 pigs. But it's like you said before.
I still have fun, but to me, it's a numbers game. I don't know why my brain just works that way. Again, it comes back to the whole I'm performance over
right,
and that's everything. If it performs better, that's what I want.
Yeah. So. Well, and like you said earlier, you get to go out a whole bunch, and versus these people that we're talking about once a month, man, once a year, or this may be something that they've done this year, and they're not going to do it for several more years.
People
again.
live in other states that come down here for and it's like it's like us going to Hawaii or something, you know.
And the locals there, just like whoop-de-doo, it's the same ocean every day.
Yeah. Well, hell, I just got back from Alaska. It's beautiful, but those guys see it every day. They didn't think anything about it, but we're like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So it's all about perspective. But I forget that a lot. Like I said, I forget that little things. That's one of the things that I'm going to try to focus on in the near future. And I say this all the time, but trying to figure out what the little things are that people don't know that can, like airing down your tires. Like I'll air down I have an onboard air compressor on my truck.
Yep.
So when I go hunt, you're talking about the bumpy, I'll air down my tires to 25. One, it gives you better traction, but it also smooths out the ride tremendously. Now, if you're going down like what we did last night, not ideal because you have so much highway travel. But if you're hunting the same property and you're not leaving, you do that and it just makes everything better. Better traction, smoother ride, more comfortable, more quiet because those tires are absorbing. Is that a big thing? No, but it makes it more pleasurable.
Right.
And it's a little thing that people don't think about.
Well, and I'm picking that up also, like for my social media, that these little things that I just do and don't even think about, which is exactly what you're saying. Those would be great shorts, short videos, reels, whatever platform you're on. Those would be wonderful and help somebody out.
Well, I don't really watch that much social media. I don't watch it. Like all these gun channels that are just blown up I watch that and I'm like, I should do this because I'm out here busting my ass and hunting and doing. These guys are going to a range with a gun, shooting a few targets, and say, "Oh, this," and I'm like, "It's so much easier than what I'm doing," And they're getting millions of views and not blocked because they're not killing a bunch of shit. And I'm like, but I've watched them over the last couple months. I told you this too. I don't usually watch them, but I was watching to see what's successful because I've been out of the game for like 3 years with all the medical stuff. And so seeing what people like, and it amazed me. But at the same time, I'm looking at it and I'm totally bored. I'm like, how in the hell did this get 2 million views when it's such a simple thing? But the general population, if that's not what you do, it's like if you're a computer guy and all you do is sit in an office and you don't get outside, you don't know to do something. Me, I'm out here doing this all the time. I go get on the computer and try to do code. I'm not gonna, and he's gonna laugh and say, "Oh, that's the simplest thing."
Right.
Hit power, dude. Turn it off. Control Alt Delete.
Yep.
You don't know Control Alt Delete. What the hell's Control Alt Delete? So, you just forget. People getting their deals. What seems like a normal thing for somebody that does it all the time is not the normal thing for them.
Right.
And I think that's why those people are successful like that, because they take the simple shit and show it, and a lot of people lose it and don't do it. So, and that's what my whole channel at the beginning. Well, like I said, my wife got me into it, but then I started trying to teach people. I'm like, I'm doing this all the time. I'm trying to teach people to make it better, but some things like shot placement and stuff like that are still the same as it was 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Other things, it's drastically changed. Tactics have changed because the pigs are always evolving, or new things. The buggies were not even a thing.
Right.
I saw there was one. In fact, the kid that did this, called me and wrote me, or he didn't call me. He wrote me a real nasty email how I stole his idea, and they put it on another YouTube channel. This was 6-7 years, and it got 1 million something views. But they were in I think it was a golf cart, running around with a shotgun and blasting. And then when I started doing the buggy stuff, you copied me. And I'm like, well, one, it wasn't me.
Right.
It's the farmer guy's the one that he just invited me out, so it wasn't I just started filming. But he's actually been doing this for probably 3 years before your video was ever made. I'm just filming it, so And then I'll get people, I'll do that video. I've noticed I start doing the e-bikes, 5 other channels start doing the e-bikes a month after I do. So, I mean, everybody's going to, it's copying, I guess, but if you find something work, that's the point of showing it.
Right.
Is so people know this is working. But yeah, I thought that was funny because he sent me it was several paragraphs long of how I was an asshole and how I copied him and, I should be ashamed of myself. I'm like, dude, this is not even my thing. I'm not helping this guy.
Yeah.
I'm just filming it.
Yep.
So funny how people act.
Yeah, it really feels like the more I listen to like the stories that you had about how the business side of the industry has been changing over the years.
It's terrible.
I really wish that, and I get it. Like I'm not financially invested in any of this. I'm not a dealer, so it's easy for me to just sit back here because I'm not losing any business on anything. I've made no money on this.
When people ask me all the time, I want to do what you do. I get these young guys. I want to move to Texas.
Yep.
And I'm like, dude, I have my own business and 3 jobs.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very expensive hobby. I do not know if I could figure out how to make. And I guess now the night vision and thermal is my main thing where I make the money for my family.
Right.
But that's only been in the last couple of years. Before that, I had multiple jobs. I was doing multiple things just to pay for this hobby that I love to do.
Right.
So, I don't charge the farmers. I don't charge the farmers anything. I just go, because for me, I need the footage and I want to do it. But somehow, somewhere along the way, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but people seem to think this is how I make my living. Which, in a roundabout way, it is how I make my living.
Well, sure.
But just eradicating pigs, just in general, the best you're going to get is maybe moving to a ranch, living in a small cabin, and then you're still going to have other work to do, and they'll say you can do it on the side.
Right.
I haven't seen too many people that do this. Some people have turned it into maybe making some side money to cover ammo and gasoline and stuff like that, but most people, you're going to have another job. Or I get the comments, the grumpy old people that don't have any pigs to shoot. Well, if they would just let me come out there and hunt, I'd do it for free. Well, one, you're probably not going to make a difference.
Yep.
I know you think you're Rambo, but you're probably just going to screw it up for somebody that does it all the time because it took me a decade and a half to get here, and I still learning as it is. And maybe, there's a few guys come out and they're just badasses and they're going to make a difference, but the average person, you're going to kill some pigs, but you're not going to do what you think you're going to do. In fact, sometimes you make it worse.
Sure.
But it trips me out because this farmer's just taking all this liability to let you on his property. Why should, they get pissed because they charge him to come out there. Well, why should he not recoup? You want to go shoot pigs. And that's the deal. Now it's so popular. All these big cities, these farmers get just blasted with people wanting. They have a line of people. Why would they not charge? But I don't know why that irks me, but it just irks me because I see that comment all the time. It's so entitled. I should be able to go on your property and shoot. You can't complain about these pigs. Well, they complain about the pigs, but the reason you're seeing it is because I'm there killing them.
Right.
So,
Well, it's like, where is that guy? Like, you're not putting yourself out there. You're not putting in the work. You're not doing this.
They may be. I've been in that situation years ago. Before, I was fortunate enough that my family had property, and I was a decent shot, and I had tools that other people didn't have at the time, and the word spread. And when you do a good job, farmers talk to each other, and I just got more, and it spread, and then it became something what it is now. But I'm not saying everybody can do that, but most people you're gonna have to pay one. Family has property, I get to hunt on it, but we bought now I dropped the F-bomb, but it's
real.
Somebody bought and paid for that, pay for the taxes, maintain it. It's not a cheap operation,
right?
Or you can lease from somebody, which it's got, depending on how in Texas, usually it's how good the oil industry's doing. If the oil industry's doing shitty or bad, you can get them cheaper. If the oil industry's doing good, it costs a lot of money,
Right.
So, but it's like anything else. I don't understand this whole concept of I get a lot of these states, which, Texas is 98% private land.
Yep.
I've gone to some of the other states, it's all public land, and you can just walk off and do whatever. But they have so many regulations, to me, it's nice, but they over-regulate it. Where here in Texas, you can get away with a lot of stuff, but you have to either buy property or you have to pay to use it. You have to pay to use your car, you have to pay to use your house, you have to pay to eat. I mean, it's anything you're going to have to pay. Or you can figure out a way to make it profitable, but you're going to have to be really good at it. And it takes, I don't know, I've seen some guys blow up instantly. But for me, like I said, I've been doing this for, the social media part probably only 10, 11 years, but the actual, being a hobby and hunt, not pig. I did coyotes before pigs were really a problem, but pigs probably 14 years now, and it did not happen overnight. No.
Right.
So.
Well, and on that same vein, I hear so many people tell me, "Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start a YouTube channel. It's just going to be easy. You just put some video and just hit send." And they don't realize that
most people are not going to. I used to. We talked about this too. I used to be real, especially when I first started, because I'd take somebody out. I've had friends of mine that we hunted had no, and then they see mine being successful, and then they copy me, and it used to piss me off because I'm like, dude, I put all this work in, and now you're watering down what I've done, because now where I was doing it, now you've got 5 people doing it. But it's expanded out. But what I realized is most people are not willing to put in the work. It's like anything else. Most people are not. They just want to have a good time. They're not willing to put in the work. And it also depends on, I like cameras. I like filming stuff. And I like killing pigs.
Right.
So it works out for me. It doesn't seem like work for me. But there's multiple people that I've taken, like Kevin. He doesn't like you stopping to he's out there to kill pigs. He doesn't care about the social media. He wants to kill pigs.
Yep.
And
he's here to do a job.
And the pictures, even if it's just the cell phone picture, slows down the process.
Yeah.
When I go with the farmer, he don't have social media. He don't care.
Right.
He don't want it. He lets me do it because it gets me to go out there and gets me to help him. But in the general thing, he sits there every time. And then, are you ready yet? Because I'm hooking up cameras everywhere. And he goes, I wonder how many hours of my life I've wasted with you hooking up all this stuff. You know what I mean? But it's a problem. So I try to show up early so I can get everything done. But it doesn't matter. He sees me out there trying to set everything up. Are you done yet? Well, I've got it down to pretty science. I can get it pretty quick. But I think now, even if it took me 2 minutes, he'd gripe at me about it just to mess with it.
Just love to have something to gripe about.
Yeah. But for a person, he cares nothing about that. All he wants to do, he lives to kill pigs. I think more than anybody that I've ever met, even me. Because I started going with some other people that were doing the same thing, and then they'd want to do it for a little bit, and they're like, "Well, we're done." I'm like, "What do you mean you're done? We're just barely the sun's not up yet."
Right.
And they said, well, "You need to go with this guy." So they introduced me, and then he was like me. He's like, I want to kill pigs. That's what I want to do. That's the name of the game. In fact, most people slow me down. I slowed him down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because of the cameras and everything. Trying to document it. So, anyways, good times.
Yeah. Well, Todd, this has just been. You really have taken.
I want to wonder how you're going to edit this, because this is it's gone. My brain has gone so many weird places.
I'm probably just gonna put a quack over a couple of words, quack, and send it. I'll do some, but you really have made this guy who just decided I'm gonna start doing this and have fun doing it and watching your content, consuming it. You really have made this has just been a big goal, and this has been so much fun.
I will say something that we left off because we talked about this. I think it just popped into my brain. But, I'm trying to show more of the lag times and tell the story in some of the recent videos, and that's kind of the plan. But a lot of you guys that are watching this, there are hours and hours and hours of driving around and not seeing. Even you see me kill a lot of stuff.
Right.
When we find them, we make hay when the sun shines, and we're effective. But there's... The first group we got onto last night, I think we hit 2 and we didn't even find them.
Yeah.
And there was 10 that ran across. Stuff like that happens to everyone.
The very first group.
Don't. Now, if you're not having fun, there's no reason to do it. Or if you're a farmer, you have to do it. But if you're just an average person wanting to do this for fun, yes, we make it look fun, but they're, to me, the finding them and the hunting for it is some of the fun.
Well, in the very first group, we spooked them on night one. So
the ones you drove into. That was, I'm telling you, there's pigs.
Well, we said the word pigs so many times over the past several hours that I was just inoculated.
I was like, well, these guys do it different. I'm going to see what's happening here, because I'm saying pigs, and they're spread out all in front of us, and I'm like, damn, man, their pigs are really virgin out here. They don't care.
No, that was a total.
And then when you realize, then you slammed on the brakes, which I was like, that seems like a huge mistake to me. And then poof, I'm like, it was a huge mistake.
Yeah. Usually Homer's sitting right there in that seat, and it's just first time hunting together mistakes, but that's hours of work that we put in, even to just make it to that point.
Oh yeah,
and got nothing out of it. All the footage we have of it is just hog butts as they're running away.
Yeah.
So that's people just don't realize the time,
the money,
and that's before sitting down in front of an editing software program, and having to do all of that, that chair work of making the content.
And I wasn't really going for that point, because we already talked about how much work it is. I'm just talking. I get a lot of kids. I see. Hell, I'm old now, so you're in your 20s. You're a kid to me at this point, which is really weird. But I've got a lot of young guys, even kids, teenagers and younger, message me and like, I'm not getting any pigs. I'm not, what's wrong? And nobody wants to watch hours of. Well, I've talked about it, and I think it's actually a good idea. My friends, I hunt mostly by myself, so you're not going to get the banner. But when somebody shows up like we did, there's a lot of banner that goes on, and that's part of the fun, because everybody's talking crap to each other. We're giving you hell for shooting too early. You're giving you hell for. In fact, actually, I think you were the one that got all the hell, because you're the one that kept screwing up.
Man, because it was so much of fun. It was a great running theme. I will take it. I will enjoy all of this.
Homer was pretty much a machine. I don't know that Homer messed anything. Well,
he is a machine. Yeah. That guy is a machine. We were telling so many just inappropriate jokes to put on social media, and it's great. Like, man, we love, as guys. We love that stuff, and so. Again, just running on the fun theme. You brought up before that, earlier, using the word like, man, like, the asshole. I've been an asshole before. I've a reputation asshole. You've been wonderful.
You told me I was an asshole. Yep. I had no idea. I thought I'm a nice guy.
So that had been a theme that I have heard about you before.
Yeah.
And after spending a couple days with this guy and having him, in my home eating meals with us, and introduce you to my wife, my 3 children, spent so much time in my haven down here in the shop. Like, you're wonderful. So unless maybe you're just really good at faking it for 2 days, but for how tired we've kept you, I really doubt that's the case. You've been a pleasure.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out where that reputation came from, but I can be. And maybe back in the day I was more so, but I don't know.
So I said this, over the weekend. I used to work in a real toxic place, and I was Dickhead Dan, and I have had to work really hard to kill Dickhead Dan, and I really try to keep that guy dead. And at the same time, like, man, like you've been wonderful. You've not been any of the negative things I've heard about you. You've been a pleasure. You've been an absolute pleasure.
And you still won't tell me these negative things. I'm like, so what are these?
I just move on. I was like, I saw that somewhere before, and like, nah, whatever. And it's so cliche, but I've learned it to be true. I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've seen who Todd Huey is, and you're great.
I don't know. I mean, because again, you won't give me the context what it was in, but I think where it comes from is, again, I'm going to tell you what I believe is. It'll be my honest opinion and what I consider the truth. If you don't like it, that's fine. You can go do your own thing.
Right.
But now, if you prove to me, like the pan tilt system, when I first saw the pan tilt system, I hate it, and I told everybody, total waste of money, and then because the first few times I used it, it hurt rather than enhanced.
Right.
And now, I had to flip on it, because now I would I would almost give anything up except, obviously you can't give the scope up on your rifle.
Right.
But I'd give a lot of stuff up to keep that.
Yeah.
I think it's so important. So, I mean, there's
Which
things,
one do you like better, the pan tilt system on the vehicle or the drone? If you had to keep one, which one you keeping?
Well, I would do the pan tilt.
You'd keep the pan
I
tilt?
would keep the pan tilt because, I mean, drones make it, but the drones to me, there's like, I let other people do the drones because of all the stupid regulations.
Sure.
The regulations piss me off, and they'll let you again. I can use belt-fed machine guns. I can use flamethrowers. I can use tannerite. I can do whatever they want these pigs getting rid of. But for a drone,
As soon as you fly a remote control in the air.
yeah, they're gonna make you. I don't mind paying for the permit, but it's all the quarterly reports. They're treating it like it's a freaking helicopter, and I'm like, it's stupid.
Yeah.
It's an incredible tool, and I don't know why they're making it difficult to use.
Right.
And so, fortunately for me, the farmer, he has his own drone. I hunt with him most of the time, so I use his. I have my pan tilt system. I'm used to using it. So, am I hurt? Yeah, I'm hurt by not being able to. I would be more effective with it, but I'm tired. I did the whole permit thing, but it was, to me, I don't know, irritates me.
Sure.
And the Texas Parks and Wildlife, for whatever reason, seem very anti-drone. And I'm like, it just seems like troubles to me, so I avoid it now. You had yours, I let y'all use it, and I see the advantages to it.
Right.
But, I don't know, for whatever reason, I'm weird about that one little thing. But the drones are a huge advantage. It just seems like they're targeting people with them, and now it hasn't been as bad since they got it seems better now. I just haven't jumped back into it, because I saw some people get screwed over the drones that I didn't agree with, and I thought it was very petty for them to do what they did to those people. And they ended up getting worked out, but it was still a pain in the ass.
Sure.
So the drones are extremely effective, and I use them almost on a day. Well, I watch them get used almost on a daily basis.
Right.
I'm just fortunate enough that I sell the drones.
Yeah.
But I sold the drones to the guys that I'm watching using most of them. But I'm in the position where I can just watch it get used.
Right.
And reap the benefits of it.
Sure.
So, anyways.
Well, is there anything else that you feel like you want to talk about, we should talk about? This has been great.
I don't know if there's anything left.
Okay. And I know that you've got to get back to your family at a decent time today. So I really
that's been the wife calling me multiple times while we've been talking.
Yeah, we've been at it for a little while.
Yeah.
But this has been great, man. And again, thank you to your wife for letting me steal you for this
she's
time.
so glad I'm out of the house. I've been around the house so much for the last 3 years that she's like, my kids don't understand right now because they got used to me being around the house, and now all of a sudden I'm starting to be gone again. And we talked about that too. The wife's like, "Oh, you just wait because you've been very lucky to have him for the last 3 years because he couldn't move." So.
Okay, well, Todd, thank you very much for just fulfilling one of my just longtime dreams and desires of getting to do this with you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for spending this time away from your family with us. And man, I'm looking forward to just hanging out with you more.
Yeah.
So.
We'll get them when they cut that stuff down and really put a hammer on.
Yeah, we'll definitely.
And then you'll see the asshole in me. I'm like, why are you not killing the pigs? They're right there in front of you. Can you stop shooting too fast?
Maybe I'll get some retribution, be able to bring my name back up again.
Yeah.
But this is whenever we start harvesting, I'm definitely gonna be reaching out again.
And what kind of time frame is it? Well, we don't need to film all that.
Right.
So, you ready?
Yep. Todd, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Now I gotta move.
Yep.
Ow. Yeah, I think.
I never record.
What?